Hi, my name is Leo Chow. I'm a professional real estate investor based in Maryland. And today we're here to talk about personal finance and money habits, which is a prereq to becoming a good investor. And we have a special guest here today, first ever. Um, do your own self-introduction.
Hello, this is Kevin Yang, and I'm also a real estate investor. My background is in computer science and finance. I work in the industry as an investment analyst for 10 years, and then I switched over to real estate investment since then. And I'm glad to be here today.
Sounds good. So we're actually going to focus on basics. I think most of the investors I know, they have good financial habits, and it takes them 10 to 20 years to get to the conventional definition of success. And we're going to talk about basics. For example, personally, I had roommates for almost 10 years in my adult life, basically to save money because having a roommate reduces your cost of rental by almost by half. And also, I did a meal prep in my time, and even though I didn't make that much money in my 20s, I built good habits that also go back pretty early. And when I did actually get into a money making mode, those habits carried with me. And I think Kevin shared a lot of those details as well, or similarities and parallel. So, well, we'll just if you had to identify two critical money habits that you have, what would it be? What would it be, and how did you get it, and how did you sustain it?
That's a great question. So, um, I'll say first and foremost, live within your means, right? So well, impossible to save money if you live above your means. I think it does not sound like rocket science, but actually it takes a lot of discipline and self-control to consistently save money and work from every paycheck or every month and put the money away in a savings account or investment account somewhere.
Gotcha.
And also just be good habits of investing and saving monies and just live with me. The first one. The second one will be to not always chasing the latest, shiniest gadgets or toys, right? Like phones or cars, and typically keeping them for longer term or maintain those things well. It will provide the same function utility over time, but at the same time, that will really keep the cost down.
If you don't mind me asking, so what between like finishing college and getting your first job, getting a real paycheck, what would you say was your savings rate first year post college, and why and how were you able to do it?
Uh, First job out of college, I was fortunately able to have a full-time position lined up, and before I graduated, so it's a very good first job, and with this nice starting salary. So my idea was, uh, I didn't really have a lot of expenses in college because I'm fortunate to have a scholarship. And so one of the first things I did, I maxed out the 401k, whatever it is at the moment. And so I just maxed it out. So I never see that money. So it's whatever's left over. And so, I still put a little bit of some of that away in the emergency savings account and I just live off the rest.
So theoretically, if you have say just like 50K after the taxes, and then how much of that goes to expenses and how much of that goes to savings or investments?
Okay. If I take an educated guess, it's been a while. I'll probably say at least 25%.
Okay.
And from the very beginning, my first job. And so it probably 15-20% of that goes to tax advantage accounts, and then whatever remaining will go to taxable accounts.
Gotcha. Okay. In terms of the major cost of living that we have is usually housing related, vehicle related, or eating out or entertainment. So, what is your personal take on these items? Which one do you spend more on? Which one do you cut back on, or you kind of keep it moderate across the board?
Yeah. Well, I'll say that I took a moderate approach, and so there's always trade offs, and especially when it comes to housing, right? So yeah, you could get a very very affordable housing, but you might be had to live far away from work, or maybe not as desirable areas. So the approach I took earlier, as you mentioned, that I had a roommate first 3 years, and was working as a professional, and it really helps a lot to that yes, this apartment is 2 bedroom apartment, a little bit more expensive than 1 bedroom apartment, but let's say maybe at the time say $1,500 versus 1,200, right? So but we can split that rent on one roommate and split and also the utilities, like electric bill, gas bills, and the cable bills. It's all add up, and so that really helps a lot. And I was by paying a little bit more, let me live within walking distance to work. So I cut down on the transportation costs, right? On the gas, on all on the cars, because I don't need to drive to work every day. And also more importantly, it saves a lot of time. Because you can walk to work, 15-minute walk versus, maybe like it's a 30-minute commute. Right?
So one of my personal topics was about food and food prep. Personally, because I was a professional student for the longest time, I tried to moderate my food costs and still get healthy nutrition. So I do my own food prep and I still eat out, but I try to limit that to once or twice a week because like $12 Chipotle, if you eat every day, that's more than $100. So,
yeah, that's great.
I know you should use restaurants, so you have more skills in this.
Yeah. So I think the main thing with the food preps is it's time consuming, right? So in a way that the time it could be spent, let's say, on exercise, other activities, or maybe even working to bring in more income. And I think that you gotta also take a moderate approach to that balance. And by during the week, I usually just eat at home. And so on weekends or at special occasions, I will go out with families and friends. And but I think moderation is the key. Yeah. So also not only if you do a little bit more cooking at home, and yes, you should save money, but also you tend to also eat healthier too.
Yeah. So I'm kind of a professional real estate investor and small famous within my circles. So a lot of people are approaching me, oh, how do I become successful as a real estate investor? How do I do well? And I just end up talking about basic habits like what is your current savings rate? What are you spending your money on? How do you get the first down payment together? So I always end up talking about basic habits because if they don't get the basic habits, there's no chance that they can actually become a real estate investor, at least not in a credible way. So how do you connect your basic items and becoming a real estate investor? Like there is a connection there, and I think you can bridge that connection.
Yeah. You're 100% correct. And in order to have money to invest, you need to first save. Right? Yes, well, what would be like, especially real estate investing, there's a leverage component to it, but you also, like, if you buy $100,000 properties, but often that you need to come out with at least 25%, right? Yes, you can borrow the rest. And also you need to have good credits and have to get the loans. And so I'll say, it's a saving. So basically how I came down with down payment for my first real estate investment project is I save, right? So often that is actually taxable accounts, not like your tax advantage account, in addition to your IRAs or 401ks. Over time that you save up over time and get that 25% down payment for the first property, and then you go from there. Yeah. And so, once you build a decent track record, once you do 3 to 5 properties, have more experience, and then have more capital, and then you need to get a ball rolling.
And the other reason about this is that the importance of reserves. There's lots of investors I meet, especially like one-time investors. Oh yeah, I did real estate and I quit because the tenant moved out, trashed my unit. I lost money and I hate it. I totally understand that. Usually the issue is that one is they didn't dig deep enough, and two, they didn't hold reserves for things that can go wrong. So there's emergency savings for your own cost of living. And then there is reserves for issues that might come up beyond expectations. Yeah. You want to address that?
Yeah, it's investing in general, especially kind of real estate investing, got project. It's the same, very much the same process, how you manage your personal finance, right? So if you have, it's always recommended to have the financial professional, you got 3 months or 6 months in emergency reserve, just in case you lose your job, like something happens that you require immediate financial expenses, right? So you don't want to be getting into debt or getting into financial difficulties when you have this one-off situation happens. So same thing for investments, real estate investments. And when you get into a project requires renovations, there's always gonna be cash flows, right? So like potential, like tenant might somehow have a tenant. You tenant to pay for 3 months. You still have to pay mortgage. You don't want to, and also like offer utilities and property taxes. It's the same concept. When you go in there, if you want to do a renovation project, you might budget, 10,000. You make sure you have $15,000 in your account just in case. Just in case. It's born. It's part of investing is a lot about risk management. Yeah. So having that extra cushion, the reserve, it will goes a long way. It doesn't necessarily have to be cash in your account. It could be a line of credit that you're able to tap into if you need to.
Gotcha. Thank you for providing this insight. So I used to teach, and then I get approached by a lot of college age or post college or even post college +5 people asking, how do you get on a path to success? So you like two advice for people, say between the age of like 22 to 30, asking like, how do they become you, based or a version of your moderate level of success. Like if they're 22 years old now or 28 years old and they want to, say, by the time 40, have a lifestyle where they have a house, they have investments, and they're stable. How do they get there? Like within that?
Let's say this, success is never a straight line.
Yeah,
There's going to be ups and downs, and your first project, it may not be it may not work out. So, but you might, and so you're going to have to kind of keep trying, right? Because there's always risk when it comes to investing, especially real estate investing. Let's say that if you're young and want to get into real estate investing, or and you want to build out a career, and so if special real estate, you just gotta do it. It's going to, yes, you can watch podcasts, you can talk to other investors, but the best way to learn is still, you gotta do it. You gotta do it. And so it's, roll out your sleeves, get your hands dirty, you gotta learn as much as you can from reading books, podcasts, or other investors, and then take on your first project and make sure you have enough reserves. Second, I would say that step out of your comfort zone. Learning is a lifelong journey, right? So whether it be personal investing, be real estate, and a lot of things that you might not be used to doing, but you know what? Try it out. The best way to find out whether or not something that is right for you or something that you're interested in doing or not interested is to try it out.
Gotcha. All right. Thank you for your insights, and we plan on having you back for a future series.
Okay.
With more detailed deep dives into the good side, the bad side, and how you deal with problems. And personal finance is a topic we are deeply passionate about. It's very personal, but to get on a path to success, you have to manage your own emotions and your approach, and also set a plan. And as far as I know, most people that do not start with a large slate of options, they usually have to build it, and it takes 5, 10, 20 years to get the outcome. And if anyone tells you this fast and easy, it's usually a scam.
Yes. Well, I thank you very much for having me, and I'm glad to be here. Or love to continue this conversation on a different day.
Okay.